Hello there, my beautiful collective signs. This is Rachel with Dark Knight Coaching. Today's reading is a traditional Celtic crossbread where I pulled about 10 cards for your energy. The song that I was guided to meditate on today was Until You Came Along by The Visitors. It's kind of an old style classic song about love, about romance. But in this reading, I feel like it's almost about the death of that because this is like maybe you didn't see what love really meant to you until someone came along. And sometimes when we meet certain people, it shifts our perspective or our reality of what love means to us. And I feel like that's what's happening here. Now, there's a lot of like chaos and conflict in your energy, but I feel like that's kind of par for the course with this changing and shifting that's occurring. Not only for you, but just like on a collective level anyways. Now, a lot of people are choosing to stay single in this environment because there's a lot of femininity in the masculine. If you're, heterosexual looking for a partner, I feel like there's a lot of challenges when it comes to that. So if you've been facing maybe an issue of men being too feminine and then you having to step up into that role, then this reading is most likely for you. So the energies that I'm seeing right away, though, are Sagittarius, Aquarius, Earth signs. Those are like the most prominent zodiac signs popping up. But I do feel like, we all have every sign in our chart somewhere. But I feel like particularly your lunar cycle is going to be significant. So there's a full moon in Cancer happening in January, and I feel like that's shifting a lot of things energetically as well. And Virgo might be significant for you. So let's dive right into the tarot, and then I'm going to go into the oracle cards. So right away, there's the Five of Wands in your current energy. This is about like conflict, fighting. It can be like you're having arguments with people about certain things or having to stand up for yourself. And that's mostly like embodying Leo energy. That's how I view that. But the challenge here is communication or fast moving action with the Eight of Wands coming in. So you might feel like maybe very reactive at this time instead of being responsive. And I think it's vital to kind of maintain and be in this like cool, unswayed position, because the Queen of Pentacles is a very like cool, calm, collected woman. And, we all have feminine and masculine energy. So if you're a male watching this, then flip the roles. But I do feel like this is more so about boundary setting, and then kind of being a little bit reserved. Now, in the recent past here, you have the Temperance card. This is Sagittarius energy. So maybe you've been feeling like left out in the cold about a situation or someone, a person even, that maybe you had thought would come back around. But I feel like you've waited. But as you've waited, you've also done some work. You've done some emotional balancing. And I feel like you're really truly seeing whoever this King of Cups is for who they truly are. And you're really also seeing yourself as this King of Cups too. And again, we all have masculine and feminine energy, but it's like when you need to step up to the plate and be in this active, loving, giving state, you can do that because you've done this healing, and because you can fulfill your own needs. You can be, the person you love the most. Aquarius energy, the star, is all about healing, but it's also about like wishes granted. So no one's ever going to love you as much as you can love yourself. So just remember that. So no one's going to fill a void inside of you. Now, the advice here from your guides and spirit, and kind of just a confirmation of everything I've said, was the Tower. The Tower came out first, and then the Two of Cups came out. So a Tower moment is happening because of some sort of coupling. And that can also be an uncoupling, because when we are not aligned with a certain energy or a certain person anymore, we usually shift out of their environment. And that's usually when a breakup occurs, because if you're not growing together, then you're growing apart naturally. Now, this Tower moment can be just like destabilizing you in the past about whatever it was that you thought love was, or a version of a person who really presented themselves as good, loving, and kind when they really innately maybe were not. And sometimes that's hard to accept, and that's hard to let go of. And I feel like that's in your energy as well, because that's kind of the cohesive message in the oracle cards that came out for you. Now, how do people see you? They see you as this Ten of Wands energy. This is a baggage, burdens, carrying all these sticks from the past that you were fighting with. And, it's like you have been through the ringer. You've been through a lot, and you're still trying to figure out how to normalize trauma and how to let it go and how to heal, and not only learn how to forgive yourself, but potentially learn how to forgive other people. And when I say forgive other people, like, forgiveness is a choice, just like love is a choice. So you don't have to forgive anyone, especially if you can't understand or comprehend where they come from. And that's where I'm, personally at in my life. Like, I don't forgive everyone. If you're coming at me because you're envious or you're lustful or you're, all of the 7 deadly sins, like, if you want something from me that's malicious or has impure intention, then I'm not going to forgive that energy, because it's coming from a place of fear, not a place of love and or naivete. Like, if someone's naive or ignorant, okay, like, that can be molded and grown into wisdom. But when someone is purposely and maliciously intentionally mean or cruel, then I don't forgive that, because it's really just a disrespect, and just shows me that person has no loyalty, no integrity, all of those things. So, but I also, at the end of the day, try to remember, like, people will treat you how they feel about themselves. So, like, that person must feel so terrible on the inside, even if they don't show it on the outside. Now, in your hopes and fears here, you have the 5 of Cups. This is a card about regret or remorse, looking back into the past, maybe a bit too much. Maybe you have regrets about that. But I feel like, again, with that Temperance being in your past energy as well, it's like you're trying to find the fine balance. Like, okay, things that went in the past, like, went not so well, but I'm also seeing the lesson and the blessing in the situation. And when you can do that, then you're kind of shifting out of this mourning state. Basically, it's you're grieving. So 5 of Cups is a card of grief, and I do feel like you are moving forward and making progress, because in the potential outcome here you have the 3 of Pentacles, and that's a card about community and working together and building something that's going to be worthwhile. Now, that's what I have for you, collective, when it comes to the tarot reading. Please make sure you smash the like button. It helps my channel grow, and I greatly appreciate it. And then I'm going to dive into the oracle cards. So the first one I had was Whale. There's a lot of stuff here about pressure and kind of like surrendering, and that can be very difficult, especially if you're like a type A person. So just as the whale can dive into the depths of the sea and endure immense pressure, you are also able to endure both emotional and physical pressures. And you also have the card that my body is a wondrous and magnificent machine, and I feel privileged to live in it. So I feel like something to do with like maybe exerting your energy or alchemizing your energy into some sort of physical activity is going to be a great way to transmute. And that's from my Moon Oracle deck. Now you also have a change in the wind, number 12. This card, when I see it, it really gives me like 5-5 energy. 5 is usually about chaos, conflict, and change, and you have 2 5s in your reading here. So if you've been seeing the number 5-5 a lot, that's just a synchronicity for you as well. And then what else do I have for you? You also had the 8 of Pentacles. I wasn't particularly drawn to this until now for some reason, but the subconscious energy is 8 of Pentacles. So it's like you're putting in the work, and I feel like you're really just putting in the work on yourself, and that's going to reflect on your outside at some point. But you're still trying to figure out how to let go of this past, and this is tied to your crown chakra. So working on healing your crown chakra or connecting to your higher self is very important at this time. And if you're like, how do I do that? How do I work on my crown chakra? Typically, if you go to a Reiki person, you can work on your chakras, or if you go to if you try to do meditation, somatic healing, EDMR, there's a lot of different ways that you can connect and really be in flow with your own energy. And I feel like that's what you're doing, because our auric bodies, our energetic field holds a lot of trauma, and we're not even aware of it because we can't see it. So our eyes only see about 5% of baryonic matter, which is all that our human eyes can view. But there's a whole, 95% of the world out there that's happening, that's different dimensions. And this is scientific fact that's going on that we can't even see. So your energy is real. It's scientifically been proven, and there's a lot here that you're letting go of. Now, you might be having some confusion because maybe you're just feeling conflicted feelings, but I feel like that's also tied to these lunar cycles. So being in the present moment is important, and surrendering to the divine is important on the full moon. So you might be wanting to do a full moon ritual, and if you dive into that, you're gonna have to give that a Google, because I don't really give recommendations for ritualistic type things, but there's a lot of things you can do for that as well. Even just like staring at the moon is helpful. Now, the present card says you live in the moment and are able to bring forth the energy of love into your circumstance. And I feel like no matter the hardship, no matter the situation, it's like you're just naturally a giver. You're always going to be that type of person. And that's a good thing to be, as long as you're giving to the proper people who aren't taking advantage of your kindness. Now, you have the Anima Mundi. This one is basically the world of self. When I looked up anima just to see what other definitions popped up for it, the first definition that popped up was the Jungian psychology of the feminine part of a man's personality. So when I started this reading, I talked about if you're dealing with a man who has really maybe over tapped into his feminine energy, then or if you've been dealing with men like that in the past, chances are it's coming from a place of unhealed mother wounds and trauma there. So if a man hasn't been securely attached to his caregiver, chances are he will really struggle with his sense of self, and it basically, you end up with two sides of the coin. You end up with an empath, or you end up with a narcissist. So if typically, I also find if you're an empath, you end up with a lot of narcissists, because it's like they're drawn to your light, and then you might be drawn to help heal them or fix them because you're a giving, generous person. Now, as you heal that sort of wound, and as you heal your childhood wounds and your mother wounds, your father wounds, and those sorts of things, you're going to be less attracted to that type of person, because you see and understand on a psychological level that people are drawn to others that are at the same psychological level. So there's still unhealed wounds in an empath, and those unhealed wounds are essentially the same wounds that are in a narcissist when you're drawn to each other, because you've not done the proper healing, and you're looking to someone else to fill that void of whatever it is you feel like is missing on a subconscious level typically. Now, number 2, the Earth card. This is from my I Ching deck. It says, partners with creative force in the flow of creation. When you have a mare's constancy, you would be steadily loyal to the truth and action. The noble one has a direction in mind, but not the route planned. At first, there are many possibilities, but once you begin, guidance and signs can be received to light your way. How are you being guided, and how can you lend your strength? And again, I feel like that's alchemizing. That's putting whatever pain and energy you have maybe into your body. Maybe that's, you're going to be like a tattoo artist or a piercer, or what are those people called? A personal trainer. You could be doing that like as a way to help others and working in your community, or you're joining a group or something along those lines to help you connect with not only community but connect with yourself and have this Anima Mundi. It's like you're rebuilding your identity. So I feel like that's a positive spot for you. Now, that's all I have for you, collective. Hopefully this video helped. Again, if it did, please smash that like button. It helps my channel grow, and I greatly appreciate it. I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.